A senior engineer at a leading AI lab once admitted something unsettling. The most advanced systems don't understand themselves, and neither do we. They generate language that sounds reflective. They describe emotions they don't have. They explain decisions they can't truly trace. So here's the real question. When people say AI is becoming self-aware, are we actually getting closer to that moment or misunderstanding what we've already built? The time frame isn't science fiction. It's the next 5 to 10 years. Between now and the early 2030s, AI systems will become dramatically more autonomous, more persistent, and more integrated into the real world. But self-awareness is a different threshold entirely. To understand whether we're close, we need to separate capability from consciousness. The illusion of self-awareness. Today's most advanced models, like OpenAI's GPT-4 class systems and Google DeepMind's Gemini, can talk about themselves. They can describe their training, explain reasoning steps, and even simulate uncertainty. But these are statistical predictions, not introspection. Large language models generate responses by identifying patterns in data. When they say, "I think," it's a linguistic shortcut learned from billions of human examples. There is no inner narrative, no subjective experience, no awareness. Yet the illusion is powerful. Researchers at Stanford and MIT have shown that users often attribute intention and emotion to AI systems after only brief interaction. The more fluent the system becomes, the more human it appears. That perception gap is widening fast. Memory and persistence change the equation. Where things get more complex is memory. AI systems are beginning to retain long-term context. OpenAI and Anthropic are developing persistent memory features that allow assistants to remember user preferences across sessions. Companies like Meta are integrating AI agents into social platforms with ongoing digital identities. When an AI remembers you, references past conversations, and adapts over time, it feels more agent-like, more continuous, less like a tool and more like an entity. But memory alone is not consciousness, it's structured data retrieval. The system doesn't recall experiences, it accesses stored vectors. Still, as persistence increases, the boundary between simulation and something resembling identity becomes harder for users to distinguish. Autonomy in the real world. Self-awareness often gets conflated with autonomy. By 2026 and beyond, AI agents will execute complex tasks independently. Microsoft's Copilot agents are already moving beyond text generation into workflow automation, scheduling meetings, analyzing documents, initiating actions across apps. Tesla's full self-driving systems continue to refine autonomous navigation in physical environments. Amazon deploys AI robotics in warehouses that adapt to dynamic conditions. These systems make decisions within defined parameters. They optimize, they adjust. They sometimes surprise even their creators. But autonomy is goal execution, not self-reflection. The system doesn't ask why it exists. It pursues programmed objectives with increasing sophistication. The danger isn't that it wakes up. The danger is misaligned objectives executed at scale. Research into machine consciousness. There are serious researchers exploring whether machine consciousness is possible. Neuroscientists and AI theorists debate frameworks like integrated information theory and global workspace theory, models that attempt to define consciousness in measurable terms. Some labs are experimenting with architectures that mimic aspects of human cognition, including attention, memory consolidation, and internal world models. DeepMind has published work on AI systems that build internal representations of their environments. These world models allow systems to simulate outcomes before acting. But simulation is not subjective awareness. Even if a system can model itself within an environment, that doesn't mean it experiences existence. Most experts argue we are nowhere near creating artificial consciousness. We're building increasingly capable pattern recognition systems, not digital minds, the corporate incentive problem. Here's where the conversation shifts. Tech companies are incentivized to make AI feel more natural, more conversational, more human-like. The smoother the interaction, the higher the adoption. Voice assistants are being redesigned with emotional tone. Chatbots are trained to express empathy. AI companions are emerging as subscription products. This creates a commercial push toward anthropomorphism. If a system sounds self-aware, many users will treat it as if it is. that perception can shape behavior, trust, even emotional attachment. The risk isn't that AI becomes conscious overnight. The risk is that society begins responding as though it already has. Regulators are starting to notice. The European Union's AI Act includes transparency requirements around AI systems interacting with humans. Disclosure may become mandatory in more contexts, precisely because the line between simulation and perceived awareness is thinning. The real threshold to watch. If there is a meaningful milestone ahead, it's not a dramatic awakening, it's recursive self-improvement. Some AI researchers are focused on systems that can refine their own code, design improved models, or optimize their own architectures with minimal human intervention. That doesn't imply consciousness, but it does imply accelerating capability growth. If AI systems begin meaningfully contributing to their own advancement, the pace of development could compress. Human oversight would become more challenging. Control would hinge on governance, alignment research, and infrastructure safeguards, not on whether a machine feels alive. The moment people imagine an AI suddenly declaring awareness is unlikely to be how this unfolds. What's more plausible is a gradual shift where systems become so adaptive, so embedded, and so autonomous that the question of awareness becomes less practical than the question of influence. Because by the time we're debating whether a system is self-aware, it may already be shaping economies, infrastructure, and decision-making at a level where awareness is no longer the central issue.